Federal Special Education Office mass fired alarming advocates. Policy proposal sparks debate over special education protections. IDEA, the Individuals with Disability Education Act, marks 50 years as families worry about enforcement. Federal panel criticizes medication use, drawing backlash. ADHD Awareness Month focuses on support over stigma. Researchers identify distinct brain activity pattern in ADHD. NIH invests $50 million to study autism causes and outcomes. White House marks Down Syndrome Awareness Month. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Rainbow Race. The past few months have brought powerful and sometimes conflicting developments for families of children with special needs. Scientific research is opening new doors in ADHD and autism, while policy decisions in Washington are raising concerns about whether the systems meant to protect disabled students are being weakened. Today's episode brings these stories together in a clear, steady way, so you can understand what's happening, why it matters, and how it connects. Let's begin with the federal changes that set the tone for much of this conversation. Federal Special Education Office Booty. Federal Special Education Office mass fired alarming advocates. A key protector of special education rights has been reduced to a skeleton crew. In October, reports confirmed that the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Special Education Programs, OSEP, had been nearly dismantled, with as few as 2 of 5 staff members remaining nationwide. This office oversees enforcement of the Individuals with Disability Education Act, which guarantees evaluations, IEPs, and services for children with ADHD, autism, Down syndrome, and other disabilities. Advocates warn that without sufficient staff, complaints, investigations, and state monitoring could slow dramatically. Families already face long delays when schools deny services, and many fear that federal enforcement may no longer function as a meaningful safeguard. Disability organizations have urged Congress to step in, warning that legal rights lose their power when oversight disappears. And coming to this reduction in enforcement raises deeper questions about the future direction of special education policy itself. Policy proposal sparks debate over special education protections. Is it a greater choice or a weaker civil rights? A policy blueprint known as Project 2025 proposes sending special education funds to states or families with far fewer federal conditions attached. Supporters say this approach could give parents flexibility to choose private schools, tutors, or therapies that better fit their child's needs. However, disability rights groups caution that children who leave public systems would also lose IDEA protections, including due process rights and guaranteed services. Without federal guardrails, critics worry funding could become uneven, particularly harming high-need students in under-resourced areas. The proposal reflects a broader debate about whether special education should remain a civil right enforced by law or become a consumer-driven system. The debate feels especially significant in a year when IDEA itself reached historic milestone. IDEA, the Individuals with Disability Education Act, marks 50 years as families worry about enforcement. A landmark law celebrates its legacy and faces new challenges. In 2025, the Individuals with Disability Education Act turned 50, marking decades of progress for students once excluded from public schools. The law now serves more than 8 million children nationwide, ensuring individualized supports and inclusive education. While advocacy groups celebrated the anniversary, they also highlighted ongoing concerns. IDEA has never been fully funded. Schools face staffing shortages, and families often struggle to secure mandated services. Recent federal staff reductions have intensified fears that enforcement could weaken even if the law remains unchanged. For many parents, the anniversary feels like a both victory and warning. As education policy faces uncertainty, debates around the medical treatment for special needs children have also moved into the national spotlight. MAHA Commission targets ADHD and autism medication. Federal panel criticizes medication use, drawing backlash. Public health messaging collides with the lived experience. In late 2025, the Make America Healthy Again Commission, chaired by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., criticized what it described as overuse of medications for ADHD and autism. The comments sparked concern among clinicians and advocates who say such messaging risks stigmatizing families who rely on medication as part of evidence-based care. Current data shows ADHD rates in US children have remained stable at around 11.3%, with improved diagnosis, not overuse, driving identification. Research also links untreated ADHD to long-term risks, including accidents and reduced life expectancy. Experts emphasize that medication decisions must remain individualized, not politicized. That controversy unfolded during a month meant to build understanding, not a division. ADHD Awareness Month focuses on support over stigma. Understanding ADHD starts with listening. October's ADHD Awareness Month highlighted the experiences of nearly 7 million US children diagnosed with the condition. Experts stressed that raising diagnosis rates reflect better screening and awareness, not careless labeling. Campaigns emphasize that ADHD presents differently in every child and often leads to discipline instead of support in schools. Advocates urged educators to adopt ADHD-friendly strategies such as movement breaks, flexible seating, and clear routines. Families say awareness efforts help reduce shame and encourage early support. And now, science is offering new tools that could change how ADHD is identified altogether. Researchers identify distinct brain activity pattern in ADHD. A December 2025 study identified a measurable EEG brain activity pattern that consistently distinguished children with ADHD from their peers. Unlike earlier markers, this signal appeared reliably during attention and self-control tasks. In a follow-up phase, children who received non-invasive brain stimulation alongside cognitive training showed improved attention and shifts toward more typical brain activity. Researchers caution the findings are preliminary but say they could eventually support earlier, more precise diagnosis and non-drug interventions. While ADHD research advances, autism research received one of the largest federal investment in years. NIH invests $50 million to study autism causes and outcomes. In October, the NIH launched a $50 million autism data science initiative, funding 13 projects examining how genetics and environmental exposures interact in autism. Researchers will study factors such as prenatal health, environmental risk, and long-term outcomes using large national data sets. Importantly, the initiative includes quality of life measures like mental health and community participation. Advocates describe the program as a turning point, signaling renewed momentum in autism research even amid broader funding constraints. Autism research wasn't the only area receiving national attention this fall. White House marks Down Syndrome Awareness Month. White House highlights the inclusion and opportunity. During Down Syndrome Awareness Month, the White House noted that about 5,000 babies are born with Down syndrome in the US each year. Advances in medical care have more than doubled life expectancy since 1980, now averaging around 60 years. Advocates emphasize that awareness must translate into meaningful inclusion in schools, employment, and community life. Families stress that children with Down syndrome thrive when expectations remain high and supports are consistent. Rainbow Race will continue bringing you clear, balanced updates because knowledge is not just power, it's protection. Thank you for watching Rainbow News. Please like, follow, share, and subscribe us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. See you soon with another episode of Special Needs News. Until then, lots of love from Rainbow Race team.